Now that we've done through a few practical scenarios with dynamic option generation, let's move on to the next feature. It is all about giving users a live preview of what they're filling in, not just as a raw values, but as a fully structured layout. So here I'm adding a fields preview block. And inside it I can write my own HTML and insert macros for any form fields. Those macros get replaced with real values on the front end. The key difference from a regular HTML block is that Fields Preview works with the form data in real time, including more complex fields like repeaters, and handles structured output. For example, here I'm building a preview for an event post. I output the title, price, image, and then the speakers list. I also wrap the preview in conditional block, so it only appears once the user starts filling in the form. Otherwise, you just see the empty layout. And this is where it gets interesting. Repeater fields are fully supported. If you had just output the repeater itself, it would render in a simple label value format for each row. But if you want full control, like I do here, you can define your own HTML structure, in this case a table. What happens under the hood is that this template is repeated for every row in the repeater, and the inner macros, like name and topic, are replaced with actual values. So you're not limited to basic outputs. You can build pretty much any layout, lists, tables, cards, whatever fits your use case. And the overall idea here is simple. Users can fill in the form to create a post and at the same time see how that content will look before submitting it. Now let's move on to a smaller but very practical addition, the phone field. Before this, phone numbers were usually just regular text or number fields. So here I'm building a simple contact form and just adding the phone field as the block. In the settings, you can control how it behaves. For example, set a default country, define preferred countries that appear on top, or limit the list to specific regions. There's also an option to separate the dial code visually, so you can choose which layout suits your design better. You can also choose how the number is saved, like the standard international E164 format. And on the front end, contact form is more professional and easier to use. Users get a proper country selector with flags and automatic formatting instead of typing everything manually. And finally, one more improvement that makes working with forms much easier: the built-in style manager. JetFormBuilder uses the default block editor, but previously, if you wanted more control over styling of Crocoblock elements, you had to install a separate plugin, JetStyleManager. Now that's no longer needed. Every form block comes with its own styling options right inside the editor. So as you can see, whether it's a phone field, checkbox, or any other block, you can directly control things like typography, spacing, colors, alignment, and overall layout. Of course, the exact settings depend on the specific block, but the idea here is the same. Styling is now built in and available out of the box. So no extra plugins, making the whole workflow faster and much more straightforward. That's the Form Builder 3.6 update.